CBS Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is CBS 2 News at 11 p.m.
Strength and power can only come from the power of the people.
The light at the end of the tunnel is shining bright tonight.
Now at 11 and streaming on CBS News Los Angeles, the big races for LA Mayor and LA County Sheriff turn into two candidate battles for November. Good evening, everyone. I'm Pat Harvey. The votes are still being counted for California's primary, and all the major races will be heading to a runoff election in November. In the race for LA City Mayor, Rick Caruso, who spent a record $40 million of his own money, is in the lead. You can look at the numbers there with more than 39% of the precincts reporting. Congresswoman Karen Bass has 38%. Rick Caruso has 41%. And since no one got more than 50% of the vote tonight, they will face off in November. The other big local contest that we're looking at is the LA County Sheriff's race. Current Sheriff Alex Villanueva has 32% of the vote, with just about a third of the votes counted. Former Long Beach Police Chief Robert Luna has 27% of the vote. Sheriff's Lieutenant Eric Strong is rounding out third place with 13%. Now, the top two candidates will also face off in November. We have a team of reporters for you covering the big races, beginning with CBS 2 political reporter Tom Waite, who's at Rick Caruso's election night party at the Grove. Tom?
Hi there, Pat. Well, it was a very intense speech. It was emotional. It was upbeat. Rick Caruso very pleased with where he stands tonight in the numbers as they come in. Let's take a look at some video. This is of the billionaire developer taking the stage with his family. Very proud of the way the vote turned out. As he came to the stage, the speech began. He talked about how he wanted to be a change maker, how he was optimistic that he could rescue a city in decline, and he could do it with the help of LA voters.
I frequently hear and read how divided people are, but what I found out is that people share so much in common. They're upset about the problems of homelessness. They're upset about the problems of crime, corruption, but they're also upset that our city government seems to accept these problems as if life has to be this way. What voters are saying tonight is no, it doesn't.
And there you have it, Caruso coming off the stage with quite an impressive confetti party after his speech wrapped up. He told his audience that he knows tomorrow is a new day, that he needs to push forward with his campaign because it's just beginning in a new phase now. He will take on Karen Bass if these numbers hold up in the general election in November. It will be very interesting to see, of course, how much money he continues to spend as he pours his fortune into this campaign to win the mayor's office. Reporting live here in the Fairfax District, I'm Tom Waite. Pat, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Tom. Well, our team coverage continues now with CBS 2's Leslie Marin. Leslie is at Bass's election night party in the city of Hollywood. Leslie.
Pat, we did hear from Karen Bass as she was surrounded by her family, including her grandson. She said it was quite a moment to be up there with them. But she also touched on some key points in her speech. She was very optimistic, saying that she has the experience to do the job, and also taking jab at how much money Rick Caruso has spent, saying that this election can't be bought. Take a listen to what she said.
Oh, well, going forward means that we have to bring together all of the people around the city and have the type of very diverse grassroots campaign that we always plan to have. We started the first phase of it, and now we'll be able to become much, much, much bigger. It's time for unity. And we are going to build the Los Angeles of the future. We're in the fight for the soul of our city, and we are going to win the fight.
Well, Bass, as you can see, was joined on stage by her entire family, introduced by her daughter Yvette, who said she and her husband were the first to encourage Bass to run for mayor. There was also some major star power here, including comedian Tiffany Haddish, and former Mayor Antonia Villaraigosa was also here, back out here live. You can see people still mingling right now. The message Bass telling supporters is celebrate tonight, but get ready for the battle ahead, as this race was neck and neck and continues to be tonight. She also said she wants to focus on the voter turnout, especially the young voters. Reporting live from Hollywood, Leslie Marin, CBS 2 News.
All right, thanks so much, Leslie. And the other big race, the top cop for LA County. Sheriff Alex Villanueva has 32% of the vote. Former Long Beach Police Chief Robert Luna has 27%, and that's with a third of the votes counted. Our CBS 2 senior reporter Ross Palumbo is live in East LA now, where the current sheriff is watching results come in. Still partying, huh, Ross?
Well, Pat, this party is still kicking out here tonight. That's because Sheriff Alex Villanueva and his supporters believe they are going to get to 50% of the vote when all the ballots are counted. But as it looks at this moment, it seems the sheriff is going to be going to a November election and facing the former police chief of Long Beach, Robert Luna. The sheriff just taking to the stage a few moments ago, speaking and unloading an entire laundry list of grievances. The sheriff bashing all 8 candidates who ran against him, including Robert Luna. He's also speaking out against George Gascon tonight, the entire LA Board of Supervisors, and even the Democratic Party. He also spoke tonight about all the controversies that have been swirling around his campaign. I think how you handle these controversies is why you've done so well tonight.
It's, I think the people understand what's going on.
How do you think you'll do against Luna if he is the other candidate and there is a runoff?
If it's a runoff, I look forward to the challenge, and they're not going to fare well.
I got a ton of support out there. How many phone calls I made, and people who didn't know me, and we spent at times up to 30 minutes, 45 minutes on the phone. I've gotten to know some extraordinary people in the county, and if I become sheriff, and I anticipate I will, those relationships are going to be very important to public safety in the county of Los Angeles.
Again, at this hour, when we look at the numbers that we currently have, it does look like Luna will be facing Villanueva in November, but all the ballots haven't been counted, and the sheriff's team does believe they're going to get to 50%. You know, the sheriff's campaign has been entirely controversial over the last 2 months. In fact, we have been covering it closely. It was just tonight, though, for the first time that the Villanueva campaign accused us of being unfair and refused at first to let us into this event, despite the fact that they've never pointed out any errors or problems with our coverage in the past. In the end, though, Pat, they did let us in, and the sheriff did ultimately speak with us, as you just saw. No matter what his critics say, the sheriff certainly does respond and tell his side of the story in the end. For now, it's very latest live from East LA. I'm Ross Palumbo. Pat, back to you.
All right, thank you, Ross. I'm glad you got that interview. Now, where does your ballot go after you vote? It's off to LA County's Registrar's Central Tally Operations Center in Downey. It's busy out there with votes being counted late into the night, but it's not as busy as it normally is on election nights because of low voter turnout. CBS 2's Joy Benedict is inside the Tally Operations Center. Joy, what do you have?
Yeah, it really is crunch time, Pat. For so many who are here, we've been talking about these numbers that have been scrolling at the bottom of your screen all night long. But you have to remember there's still hundreds of thousands of ballots that have yet to be counted. And that's exactly what they're doing here behind us. This is very serious stuff. We're not allowed in that room. Everybody has to be certified to be in there. As you can see, those tally machines working, and they have been working for about an hour now. But that is because voters did turn out today. And here is some video from earlier from last-minute voters trying to get that vote in before 8 p.m. tonight. And you can see this particular location there that we were at in Sherman Oaks was pretty busy. In fact, every location voting site was full in that room. But as of today, it looks like they're seeing about 19% voter turnout for this election. That's a 5.6 million who are registered to vote before the deadline. Most of those votes were coming in by vote by mail. They had about 800,000 of those before 5 p.m. today. But of course, any vote by mail ballot that arrives with a postmark of today will, of course, be counted in person during this voting period. They had 243,000 people vote in person because of this election. Talking to folks that were out there voting today, for many of them, they say it was important to vote in person, but they say the most important thing of all was just to let their voice be heard.
Because there's a lot of bad stuff happening in the world right now, and I guess to try and find the right people to fix those problems. It's pretty depressing being like a young person and like seeing like the world burning around you in like so many different ways, and like hopefully like the small changes make a difference.
What are your biggest issues of concern?
Probably for crime reduction and homelessness reduction as well.
The homelessness and crime. Because it seemed, because of COVID, it seemed like People have lost their minds, and things that wouldn't have happened 4 years ago is happening now.
A lot of people demanding change, and a lot of them saying it is the local elections that they cared about the most when they came out to vote today. Things like the mayoral office, the sheriff, things of that nature, because they want change in their own neighborhood. Pat?
All right, thanks so much, Joy. Well, in the race for an open seat on the LA County Board of Supervisors tonight, veteran state assemblyman and Senator Bob Hertzberg is in the lead right now with 36% of the vote. In West Hollywood, Council member Lindsay Horvath is bringing up the second position at 26%, and shortly, or closely behind her, is State Senator Henry Stern. He has 23% of the vote right now. And in the race for governor, Gavin Newsom didn't face any major challenges this year after he easily beat back last year's recall. Governor Newsom tweeted tonight, in fact, California is the antidote, leading with compassion, common sense, and science, treasuring diversity, defending democracy, and protecting our planet. Here's to continuing that fight, and as you saw there, he has 2/3 of the vote.